So Doom Eternal's been out a few weeks now, everyone playing this ode to simulated violence with a disregard for demon life. If you haven't played it yet, what the fuck are you doing? You don't want to play one of the best FPSs of recent memory? You don't want to run around absolutely decimating demons with everything from a shotgun to a fucking chainsaw? God, the chainsaw makes me so hard. With everyone becoming reclusive shut-ins to avoid that virus from China, like it's an airborne form of AIDS in the 1980s, it seems like Doom Eternal has sold like cocaine in, well, the 1980s. And with everyone stuck indoors, I'm willing to bet most of you absolute weapons have already finished it, maybe even twice. So if you think you've exhausted your time with Doom Eternal, I think I have a suggestion. Let's take a look at the game that inspired Doom 2016 and subsequently Eternal, the savagely violent and ridiculously gory mod that led id to stop making cooler Doomy and produce two of the best first-person shooters this side of the millennium. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Brutal Doom. Brutal Doom. This is a mod made by Sergeant Mark IV for the original Doom games and their expansions. Yes, even Plutonia if you're the kind of person to cut off their own hands to make daily life more challenging. It takes everything that makes Doom, Doom, and turns it up to 50. New weapons, revamped enemies with better AI and new attacks, animated executions, headshots, and the gore. Oh, the gore. Some cretins were rather against the graphic violence displayed in the original game when it came out, and now look at it. That isn't even the highest fucking setting. You can turn it up. What these changes do is bring Doom straight into the 21st century. No more are you playing a low-res FPS with keyboard aiming and no jumping. With modern resolutions, mouse look and a ridiculous amount of customization, only the graphical quality, and a few other things, really indicate the age of this game. While yes, you're still shooting sprites and the levels were made at a time when navigation and logic were secondary to being a dickhead to the player, this game is insanely fucking good. Can we talk about the gunplay now? If you thought Doom 2016 and Eternal were gameplay focused, you've never played the originals. If you're not mercilessly slaughtering demons every other second, you're playing this game wrong. The best change made here is the weapons. This may honestly be one of the most satisfying arsenals ever put into a video game. Firstly, they got rid of the shitty starting pistol and replaced it with an assault rifle. So even your starting gun will blast chunks off of demons and decapitate imps and soldiers. You can akimbo them too. Then there's the chainsaw. Have I told you how much I love the Brutal Doom chainsaw? Let's put it this way. You don't have to pull out the chainsaw because it's the best weapon for the job. You don't pull out the chainsaw because it's the most efficient solution to your problems. You pull out the chainsaw because you want to fucking annihilate a demon in front of all his mates and show him how much business you really mean. Just don't hit a wall with it. Shotguns are next, and I think they might be even more satisfying to use than the chainsaw. Actually, I think these may just be about the best shotguns I've ever used in an FPS. The combat shotgun sounds like a train smashing into a brick wall. And despite being a shotgun, is one of your best ranged weapons against weaker enemies. And then there's the super shotgun. I'm just gonna shut the fuck up, just listen to this shit. Nothing gets me off more than that brief moment after you round a corner with a super shotgun, and you lock eyes with essentially any demon weaker than a mancubus. The flash of fear in its eyes, mirrored by the flash of my shotgun blowing half its torso apart with twin 12 gauges of pure, unadulterated destruction. Chunks flying everywhere, demons cowering in fear, and me coming all over the monitor! Fuck me, what? As you'd expect, the chain gun, or minigun, is ridiculous as well. It sounds like you're carrying around an A10 Warthog somehow shoved up your arse, and recoils like you're carrying one too. Perfect for decimating hordes of fodder enemies or chunking down the big guys. Try to stay close though, I'm honestly not joking about that recoil. The rocket launcher's alright. It demonstrates perfectly one of the problems I do have with this mod, but it's still good. We'll come on to that problem later. It's great for large groups and heavier, angrier demons, just don't use them on fucking pain elementals, or the only thing that's going to be in pain is you. Then there's the plasma rifle. Not the most satisfying weapon to use, but still very powerful. Yet again, it's good against about every enemy in the game, and a good late game choice over the assault rifle, especially as you can also akimbo it. Two other additions to the arsenal includes the Revenant's rocket launchers and the Mancubus flamethrower. I haven't had a lot of time with the rockets, but fuck me, the flamethrower. If you ask me, it's a long time coming to have one in Doom Eternal, because this one's fucking sick. 1 second you got 20 imps, some pinkies and a baron. The next, after a few unhappy screams from the demons, you're quite well supplied for the UAC's annual Burned Baron Bollock Barbecue. First try, bitches! Then there's the Big Daddy, the Alpha Chad of Doom's arsenal. Pulling this thing out in a room full of demons is like whipping out the 13-inch destroyer at the Hit Replacement Society's monthly orgy. You know what this is. Yes, my friends, it's the big fucking gun. I feel like every Doom video has to introduce the BFG like this. It just wouldn't be right otherwise. No self-respecting Doom game is complete without its BFG, and this one is pretty good, just not as ridiculous as the one in Eternal or 2016. Just charge it up, fire, and watch as every living thing in a 20-metre radius is reduced to a steaming red mass on the floor. It kind of reminds me of that time someone put laxatives in my Vindaloo. The weapons in this game work fantastically with the pace and the gunplay of the mod, and is what makes it a very similar experience to playing Doom Eternal. The importance of verticality is unfortunately toned down here, as the Doom engine is so archaic that it doesn't actually allow you to place one floor on top of another. Yep, seriously, take a look at any map from the original games and you won't find anywhere that includes this. But a lot of the experience remains. Large levels with secrets giving you access to guns and ammo, or even some power-ups. The combat is fast and bloody, where you as a single man can blast through hundreds of demons with nothing but your anger, a chainsaw, and a shotgun that hits like an in-form Mike Tyson. Your base movement speed is faster than sprint in most games, so dodging incoming projectiles and moving all around the arena is an essential part of gameplay. While definitely more old school, you'd be surprised at how similar these games can be at times, especially with some of the animated executions and the savagery of the combat. They've also completely overhauled the demons with new, more detailed sprites that retain the look of the originals. They're all faster, better at dodging your shots, and are just more engaging to fight. Hit scan enemies now shoot very fast projectiles instead, so dodging them is actually possible now. Imps now have a pouncing attack at close range, having it rip your insides out like children mutilating an already battered pinata. Barons can now throw multiple projectiles, Arachnotrons are now much larger, and they made the fantastic decision to make Lost Souls even faster, which, in combination with the exploding pain elementals, makes me want to strap down whoever suggested this and waterboard them with my fucking piss. However, none of these changes make them any more resilient to getting torn to pieces with a fucking chainsaw. And then there's the maps. You can choose to play Doom 1, 2 and the expansions with this mod, so you are playing levels from the mid-90s. So that's open, labyrinthian levels with secrets everywhere and really, really creative ways to navigate them and spawn in enemies. Teleporters can sling you across the map or into secrets or traps, and keys are essential to find in order to progress through the level. These aspects of level design were definitely parts of Doom 2016 and Eternal, but the modern games are easier to navigate with a much better flow than that of the originals. What you'll also find quite quickly is that these games worship at the altar of being a cunt to the player.
Really, nigga? Shit!
Look at this shit, man. I had to crack a fucking walkthrough out because I didn't know about essentially the only shootable wall in the entire fucking game that is required for progression.
Fuck yourself!
I know I said that this is a perfect adaptation of Doom, but it definitely still has its problems. At the top of that list, in bold, written with rancid fecal matter, are the words weapon reloading. Yeah, you know that thing that always slows down the pace of combat just because you have to sit behind a wall and wait for your character to jam more rounds into his gun? Yeah, they added that into a Doom game. It also doesn't prompt you, alert you, or automatically reload once you run out of ammo. You even have to reload the fucking rocket launcher, which I keep forgetting to do. There's nothing more frustrating than running into a room rock hard with anticipation of blasting this imp's childhood memories in a 6-foot wide arc onto the wall behind it, and then hearing your gun click and have the Marine start fumbling for shells because Sergeant Mark IV put a reloading mechanic into a fucking Doom game. Yes, you can still play on classic mode, which takes out reloading. Oh, Jesus. But it also takes a load of the cool shit out, so that isn't for me. Now, this next one isn't so much a criticism, but it is something to bear in mind, and that this is a bloody hard game. Don't go into this on ultra-violence and expect to kick the game's arse if that's what you did in Eternal. For those who don't know, Doom's difficulties are split into easy, normal and hard, where enemy placement is altered only by changing between these three. Ultraviolence and Nightmare are both considered hard difficulties, so Ultraviolence has the same enemy placement as Nightmare. And because the devs wanted Nightmare to be ridiculously fucking hard, Ultraviolence has an insane amount of demons. This, in combination with them being more dangerous in Brutal Doom, makes Ultraviolence incredibly punishing, but rewarding. You can just turn it down if you're a fucking pussy, but nothing feels better than finally getting through a difficult level on Ultraviolence.
Nope.
Oh hell yeah, brother, yeet!
As I hinted at before, verticality is a massive part of the modern Doom games, but unfortunately isn't so much here. This is partially due to the levels being designed and interpreted by your computer as 2D top-down environments rather than full 3D. If you tried to put a floor above another one, you can hear the engine throw a rod and yeet itself out the nearest window. Also, the original games had no accommodation for vertical aiming, so levels were designed for players with less vertical neck movement than a recent hit-and-run victim. This isn't a massive deal breaker though, as you can still run around the arena at breakneck speeds while shotgunning the shit out of demons. Another issue I have with this mod is that it has a jump command.
What? He's complaining about jumping now? I thought he liked verticality.
Shut the fuck up, cretin, I haven't finished. I don't like jumping when using it can break the fucking game. A lot of the time, secrets and weapons can be stuck in areas unreachable in the vanilla game as you can't even jump a small pit. In Brutal Doom, you can quite easily jump across gaps, completely breaking the level. For example, in Tricks and Traps you're teleported into this room with some pinkies and some pain elementals. To access a secret, I jumped across a chasm and picked up the weapons on the other side. I was then teleported into a room and was immediately soft-locked. As I hadn't triggered the secret correctly, I was stuck in a cage with no way out, meaning that I had to restart the entire fucking level again. So yes, jumping is great, but use it sparingly because it can break the maps if you start flinging yourself over things you weren't normally able to. And that's it. Those are the only issues I really have with this mod. It's important to understand that a lot of these problems originate from how fucking ancient the original games are. Yes, for 1993, Doom's engine is absolutely ingenious, and John Carmack is clearly a hyper-intelligent lizard man sent from the future to revolutionise video games. but the limitations mean Brutal Doom naturally isn't as polished as most true 3D shooters this side of the millennium. But if you get past the actually rather low learning curve of playing a classic game like this, and if Sergeant Mark IV lets you turn the fucking reloads off, you will have an absolute blast. As I mentioned at the start of this video, this mod had a direct impact on the direction that the new games have taken. id were originally going to make a scripted, linear shooter in the same vein as a lot of Call of Duty campaigns at the time. The widespread distaste that followed led to the revealed game being termed Call of Doomy. Upon playing Brutal Doom, loving it and seeing the popularity it had, led id to completely change direction and ultimately release Doom 2016. While Brutal Doom definitely wasn't the only factor in this change of direction, there is a possibility that without Brutal Doom we wouldn't have seen the cock-stiffening, adrenaline-filled fucking metal powerhouses of Doom 2016 and Eternal. This mod was so good it influenced id to drop years of work on a steaming turd and make some of the best and most defining games of the genre. What a fucking legacy.
But something got a hold of me. But something got a hold of me. Yeah. But something got